He beat me. Straight up. Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Hey, welcome back everybody to the second episode of Average Bros, aka Parlay Papas. I'm Andrew Johnson. This is my brother Garrett Johnson. And just like every week, we're going to discuss daily fantasy, particularly through DraftKings, as well as pick them against the spread and a couple parlays that we like.
All right, first we're going to start with a recap of last week. It was a bloodbath for most, a couple bright spots here and there. But we're going to start with our DraftKings. My lineup, not great, not terrible, but 111.96 for my points. I had a couple hits. My hits were Jonathan Taylor. I think that was an easy one, 30.96, and then DeAndre Swift with 29.95. And then I had a couple big misses. My misses were my unknown stack that we talked about with Lance and Ayuk, 10.96 to 6.5. Not good for your quarterback and probably your number one receiver going.
Can't trust the unknown.
You can't trust the unknown.
You've proven it.
Proven it. Week one. You're welcome.
So week one in the books, I took the W on the DraftKings lineup. My lineup finished at 177.98.
Killed it.
Helped me cash in a lot of different contests that I played in. As far as the successful points, which pretty much came down to luck as far as how my lineup played out. But the one of my most successful players was Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, wasn't sure what to expect with him, as far as being injured, but knew he was going to touch the ball a lot. He finished with 36.4 fantasy points. I think that from what I was listening to, he was in on 88% of plays. One of the highest shares for running backs in the NFL. So, Saquon Barkley was a big bright spot for me. The other big bright spot was Justin Jefferson, the man I built my lineup off of, the first person that I picked, 42.40 points, 180 some yards receiving, a couple touchdowns. Fantastic game for him.
Absolutely.
The duds that I had, Damian Pierce, running back for Houston, didn't seem to get much workload. I know Lovie Smith said that he was expected to give him more of a workload than he did, but it seemed like Rex Burkhead kind of
took a lot of his carries.
Yep. And then Cole Kmet, you can crop a tumbleweed rolling by. Zero points for Cole.
And still put up almost 180 with zero. A guy with zero.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Well, thank
you. Yeah, good work.
Thank you.
Yep, so he's up 1-0 on me on DraftKings. We're going to jump into the pick'em, which was even worse for me. I did all that flex in the first week of winning, and now 4-12 start.
Hey,
awful start. But I'll be back, so get in with me this week. If you faded us, like you said, you're a rich man this week. Rich whoever. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I didn't fare much better. I finished 6-10. Shouldn't have changed from the Chargers to the Raiders. Heart got me there.
Yeah, that was my fault.
No, not your fault. But and my John Locke pick of the week. Broncos country.
Yeah, reaped.
Let's ride. Definitely reaped.
What's this, man?
So, 0-1 on the Locke pick of the week.
One thing I was good at that week. The John Locke, I locked it up with the Bucks. I don't know if it was the Dak getting hurt or they're just dominating them from the beginning to the end. So I want to know with my John Locke. So stick with me there. We're doing something there.
Nice. Good work.
So that's our recap of week one. We're going to jump right now into week two. We're going to start with our DraftKings lineups. We're going to go back and forth, compare, contrast, see how it goes. Andrew's up 1-0 on me, so he's got the lead. So I'm going to start us off. I'm going to go with another stack again. I think the stack is the way to go. My stack is a little bit homerish after watching those 4 touchdowns live in the house. I'm going with Carson Wentz, 5,800. He was pretty cheap, I feel like, for a guy who's coming off 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I went with Carson Wentz, and I stacked him with Curtis Samuel, another what I felt was relatively cheap guy, 4,600. He had a lot of touches last week. Was not only getting the short passing game going, but got a couple carries in as well. Fumble hurt him a little bit, but he ended up with 20 points last week. Caught a touchdown. So my stack starting with Carson and Curtis. What you got?
Oh, well, if you're Homer, I'm Homer. Must be something about sitting in the stadium watching it live.
That's right.
Great game to go to. Glad that they pulled off the W.
Yeah,
but
one of my 4 wins.
You started off with Wentz and Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
I started off with Carson Wentz and Curtis Samuel.
Wow.
I like the pricing
it.
of both individuals. Curtis Samuel just seemed like, and we hadn't seen him play in a year, but every time they put the ball in his hands, he was explosive.
Just making people miss.
I don't know how many ankles he took on Sunday.
So many.
But there was a lot of
You'll
oohs
see
and ahs
You'll
in
see
the
it down at
crowd.
the bottom. I'll put it on there. He took a couple.
So it looks like we're starting off pretty similar, which in DraftKings, it's not too bad to have some of your opponent's players and you at least know you're aligned there and then see what your differences are.
Right. All right, so I'm going to jump to the running backs now.
Okay.
I went with Michael Carter. Michael Carter for the Jets. The offense did not do a lot, but I saw that with Flacco, Mr. Checkdown himself, I think he had 7 targets and 5 catches, I believe it was. Still put up points even though they didn't do anything offensively really. And with it being PPR, it's good to have a back that's going to get catches. Brees Hall was a little underutilized, so I went with Michael Carter. Who you go for your
what was
first
his
back?
cost?
His cost was $5,200,
Okay.
which I thought was on par for a guy. It's a risk a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Brees Hall. I didn't hear a whole lot about
Yeah, didn't
Brees
have
Hall.
many carries.
No.
Yeah, they kind of split, and Carter was a third down back for most of it. Probably just getting Brees Hall used to protections and things like that. It's probably not going to be the third down back right away.
Gotcha. All right, as far as starting off the running backs with mine, I continued the trend that I didn't believe that I would be on because I was uncertain about this player going into the year, but I went with Saquon Barkley. When I was looking at the lineup, last week I started with Jonathan Taylor, and I really wanted to go with Jonathan Taylor again because of the consistency, but he's $9,900. Saquon's $7,300. Take a little bit of a price cut there, but yeah, the efficiency as far as being on the field, up and above any other running back in the NFL. He's going to get the volume. I was listening to a podcast where they talk about the five items that you want out of your running back. One of them is playing at home, carries within the 5-yard line. He checked all 5 boxes. Yep.
Yeah.
Catches. Yep.
Yeah.
So Saquon Barkley, I think, is a good value if you're trying to get a top tier, but you need to save a little bit of money.
I like it. My second back I went with after the debut of Denver that wasn't let's ride at all. But I went with Javonte Williams. He was getting a lot of carries, a lot of catches. Still put up big numbers even though they didn't score. Them facing an inferior opponent, I feel like in Houston this week. 6,500, not a bad play, not the top guys, but I feel like with him and Carter, I'm looking for my strategy is more the catches this week.
Yeah.
Getting the backs with the catches and see what happens.
Did Javonte have 11 catches?
I think it was 11, yeah.
Yeah, he was on that same podcast, though. 5 check marks,
Yeah.
playing at home. Favored was one of them. They're favored by
10, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's a great. And I think that they were also saying that he had some carries in the second half, not as many in the first half, but every carry that he had, he looked fresh and explosive. And yeah, I think that game was just.
It's tough with Melvin Gordon and him splitting at times, but I feel like he's gonna be on the field a lot.
Yeah, should have had a touchdown.
Yeah.
All right. So second running back for me, I went with a little bit of a cost saver, just like I did last week when I took Taylor. I went with Pierce. This week I had Barkley. I took Jeff Wilson Jr. in San Francisco, 5,100, with Elijah Mitchell out. I want to say 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
something along
8
those
weeks, I
lines.
think I saw.
I'm just hoping next man up as far as Kyle Shanahan that they feed him the ball. I know San Francisco had a poor showing, but getting a starting running back at 5,100 so I could try to build the rest of my
He's
lineup.
been around for a while, and every time somebody goes down, for some
He's
reason,
successful.
he produces. I remember I had him in a fantasy league towards the end of the year, a couple years ago, and he helped me win it at the end.
Yeah, this is kind of a gamble. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I like it. You can go to your wide receivers.
Yeah, sure. So wide receivers, I started off with Mr. Reliable Cooper Kupp. Spent $9,900 on him. So, I was trying to do everything I could to make sure he was in the lineup. He's one of the people that you just don't want to fade. I feel like if I'm watching football on Sunday and I see him put up 13 catches and 180 some yards, I'm just going to be upset that I didn't put him in the lineup. So
absolutely,
I'll bite the bullet and put him in there.
I did the same.
Did you?
It's
Nice.
we talked about this before one time.
Can't fade him.
It's the Taylor Cup fade. You got to pick one. You can't fade them both. It's almost impossible.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
Both.
yeah. So I went with Cup as well. Yeah, 13 catches, and my thought process too is he's all they got at receiver right now.
Yep.
Jefferson hurt, OBJ obviously gone and been hurt in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
He doesn't have much help. So and they're still feeding him.
Yep.
And he's still successful. So that was why I went with Cup early.
Game where they're favored big too.
Yeah,
So we'll see how it turns
10
out.
and a half, I think, at this point.
But second wide receiver I went with was Jamar Chase. I was torn. I went back and forth between Devontae Adams and Jamar Chase. had to go with Chase to cut a little bit of money. I think Adams is 8,600, Chase is 8,000. But at first, I was trying to pair up the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack because I was thinking that against Dallas with Dak out, how poor they looked, that they could capitalize on that. I think T. Higgins may not play. So if T. Higgins doesn't play, then Chase is going to be boosted even more.
For sure.
But it could also get to a point where Cincinnati blows them out of the water and it's not needed.
Yeah, and they run the ball late.
Could be risky. But
yeah, I like it though. I went with Amon St. Brown against us, obviously, Commanders. We had a couple, I think it was Kendall Fuller had a pass interference late in the game for us. A couple issues in the secondary, and Goff was slinging it first week. They ended up putting 35 points up on Philly, who's supposed to have a much better defense. Something that we struggle with, like I said last time, was the third down passing game. So I feel like Amon St. Brown is 6,500.
Yep.
I didn't go for the bigger guys because Kupp kind of made me pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
But you'll see later. I found some values, I think, in the late rounds.
So I think St. Brown had 5 straight games with a touchdown and 7 catches or something like that. So he's been very consistent for them. 12 targets last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, very utilized, very good football player. So you want to finish off wide receivers?
Yeah. Well,
you got in your trio.
Well, I got Curtis. We got
Kupp. Oh, that's right. We both have. Okay.
Kupp, Curtis, and Amron are my 3.
Yep.
So who are your 3?
Kupp, Chase, and Curtis.
A lot of similarities.
Yep.
Interested to see what you got at tight end.
Yeah.
You got value there? You don't got much money, I don't feel like. I feel like you went pretty high.
I don't have a lot of money left. Yeah.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you can go.
All right. I with my thought of Kupp not having much help, I think they're going to hopefully rely on the tight end a little bit more. So I went with Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee at 4,200. Hoping that he gets involved a little bit more than he did the first game. I think he had 6 or 7 points first week on the Thursday night game.
Couple drops.
Yeah, which hurt him, but they don't have any much behind him anymore. So I feel like he's going to get the bulk regardless. So 4,200. I've tried to find some value there. Tight end is tough unless you want to spend the big dollars.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Yeah, for tight end, I went with another Washington Commander. I got Logan Thomas in the tight end spot at 3,400. Yeah. So I've got Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, and Carson Wentz.
We'll put up 40.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I saw Terry
What
McLaurin
was Logan Thomas? 35.
3,400.
34. Yeah, it's a steal.
And McLaurin was the lowest scoring receiver out of the trio last week.
Yeah.
We had a really hot trio, but
yeah,
we'll see. I know Logan Thomas.
I think he only had 3 targets the whole game, too.
Really?
Terry,
when you and I were watching the game, he had a big third down catch over the middle.
Yeah, he had 2 late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So he came through in the clutch. We'll see if maybe he can get targeted in the red zone. I can sneak a touchdown in there. But with what I spent between Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah, heavy lineup. Yeah, I like it. We have a lot of similarities, but then the bargains get a little bit different. You went heavy elsewhere, so that's good. And then my flex, another similar name, Jeff Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Talking about a guy who, like I said, every time he got a chance, he seems like he's done pretty well. Or like when Burrito went down a few years ago and Mostert went down, he's always seemed to do well late. And with that terrible stack I did last week with Trey Lance, I feel like they're going to rely heavy on the run game to help Trey Lance.
Yeah.
So Jeff Wilson Jr. 5,100 is my flex.
Very unique game too. I don't know if you saw the amount of water on the field.
Yeah, they're sliding around like they did against us back in the day when Bosa was head first in the water.
Yeah. So
I saw that.
That's kind of difficult for Trey Lance also. But yeah, I agree. I think their key to winning is running the football.
Absolutely.
So finish her off with. Oh no, I still have my flex. So still didn't have a whole lot of money. 3,600 is what I spent on the flex position. I went with Triple H, Hunter, Hayden, Hurst for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was kind of involved in the game when I was putting together for Chase. I was going to double stack it with Hurst, but had to take Burrow out and slide Wentz in there to save a little bit of money to make the lineup work. But I'm hoping that the game Triple H Hurst can get me a touchdown as well. I don't think he had a poor showing last week. I think he had 4 or 5 catches. Decent numbers, but anytime they can sneak a touchdown in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You finished off with the defense?
Yeah, sure. So defense, I finished it off with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm pretty heavy on that game.
The heaviest.
The only
Bengals
team,
and Commanders.
Yep. The only team in the NFL didn't score a touchdown last week was the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So if the Bengals have the Cowboys with backup quarterback in, I'm hoping that the Bengals can
I did
sneak through.
I did the same. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
2,200 against Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
You have to do it. So Bengals D as well. So we had a lot of similarities. Wentz, Cup, Samuel, Wilson, Bengals D. 5 out of 10. Similar.
Oh, okay.
5 out of 9.
5 out of 9. Yeah. So only 4 differences.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that shakes out.
I'm gonna be honest. I like your Chase Barkley better than my Carter, Amron St. Brown, Williams. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you never know.
Roll the dice.
Yep. You
All
never
right.
know.
1-0, Andrew against me over here. 0-1. We'll see what happens.
Thank you. All right, moving on to NFL Week 2 Pick'em versus the spread, where we both did not perform very well last week. Took the slight edge at
That's
6-10, which is like an 8-8 team making the playoffs. But yeah, we'll see how this goes this time around. I think we both, now that we've seen the teams, have a little bit of knowledge behind it. We can pick.
Do a little better.
Yeah. So we'll start off with the first game, Thursday night game tomorrow. You got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 4 points. For me, I went with the Kansas City Chiefs -4. Kansas City absolutely destroyed Arizona last week. I know the Chargers have a high-powered offense, but I don't believe they'll have Keenan Allen, which is a big loss for them. And it's just hard to root against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I did the silly thing and went against him last week. I'm not going to do it again. So I went Kansas City -4. No Keenan Allen, no Donald Parham. I also thought J.C. Jackson was questionable. Kansas City, I think, just is a little too much for him at home.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out I'm 1-0 on Thursday Night Football versus.
I don't know how to put this.
When the lights do not shine the brightest.
Yeah,
Kind of a big deal.
Obviously, not seeing anything.
All right, so moving on to the second, Carolina Panthers at the New York Football Giants. Football Giants are favored by 2.5 at home. I like to take some home teams. After watching the Giants go for 2 and score, and who's their head coach?
Brian Dabble. He's the Bills' old offense coordinator.
Man, watching him celebrate.
He was hype. So was Saquon.
Yeah.
That.
He seems like the man, so I'm rooting for the football Giants
Brian Dable.
covering the spread.
Yeah, I did the same as well. 2.5. Panthers looked suspect, to say the least, against Cleveland last week. I wanted the Baker Mayfield revenge to work. It did not. So
Yeah.
I'm going to roll with the Giants again at home, -2.5.
Okay.
Giants beat a Titans team that's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, and somebody put a lick on Derrick Henry that was nasty.
I don't know who it was, but I saw the highlight of it.
Yeah, man. All right, so third game on the slate, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at New Orleans Saints. Buccaneers are favored by 3 on the road. Rule of thumb, never bet against Tom Brady. I'm going with Tampa Bay. I know New Orleans normally seems like they have their way with them.
Yeah, they beat them twice the year before.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Tom.
Yeah, I did the same as well. It's not the same New Orleans, Drew Brees, Saints. It's the Jameis Saints. So I'm going to go with Tom -3.
You'll have to wait a week to eat that W.
That's right. There's no W's being eaten.
You want to rattle off?
Yeah,
next?
so we got Miami at Baltimore. This is a tough one. Baltimore is -3.5 right now. Miami looked way better than I thought they would. Baltimore looked okay against the Jets. I mean, the Jets are the Jets. I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to take the Dolphins in the points, even with Baltimore at home. So I'm going to go Dolphins +3.5.
Nice. We seem to align a lot this week. I'm going with the Dolphins and the points on the road. I know there was, you did say Baltimore started off pretty slow. I heard a funny interview question where they asked Lamar, and he asked the person, if you didn't do your job for a year and change, how would you perform? Yeah. So, I guess you got to rest your guys, got to make sure that they're healthy. But they may start off slowly, and I like Miami in this one.
Yeah, I do too. Go to the Jets at the Browns, Cleveland -6. Even with Jacoby Brissett, they managed to move the ball, put some points up. Kareem Hunt had a good game. The Jets, again, are the Jets. I think Cleveland wins us by 10, easy. I'm going Cleveland -6.
I agree. I'm going to take Cleveland at home. I think Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, I think it'll be too much for them. I think if they run the football the way that they do, that Cleveland should handle it just fine.
They were already discussing if Flacco was going to get this start even. So, so it's not going good there already.
Yep.
The next game, Commanders at Lions. Track meet. I think it's going to be a lot of points. Our defense I'm still nervous about it. Detroit obviously couldn't stop Philly at all, 38 points most in the league.
Yep.
I saw Detroit with their 35, the third highest in the league, but obviously with a loss. I'm gonna go with the Commanders and take the 2 points.
I'm gonna do the exact same thing. hopeful picking Washington and hoping that they can win, and that I think as long as we can control the ball and not turn the ball over, we should be in a good spot.
For sure.
Yep. So moving on to the next one, Indianapolis Colts at Jacksonville Jaguars. Colts on the road, favored by 4. I went a little contrarian on this one and took Jacksonville. I like watching Jacksonville when we were at the game. I think they have 2 very talented running backs. I think if ETN catches that ball on 4th and goal and they score, could be a different ball game. The receiving trio impressed me also between Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Marvin Jones. I think Trevor Lawrence has a lot of weapons. I think that they could sneak one at home against Indy, depending on how things go.
I think they could as well. I'm still going with the Colts, though. Colts -4 until they prove it to me. I'm going to roll with the Colts and Matt Ryan. But one thing I did see was I didn't realize it when we were there, but watching back, Jaguars 19 carries, I think, to 40-some pass attempts.
Wow.
And they were averaging 7 yards a carry against us. And for some reason did not run the ball. I think they'll try to fix that this week. Indy's a little bit better on defense than us. So I'm going to roll with the Colts -4.
I got you. That's, I think, our first differing pick, right?
Yeah.
Moving on to the next one, New England Patriots at Pittsburgh Steelers. New England is on the road, favored by 1.5. I went with the home team, Pittsburgh, on this. With a close spread, I just figured go with the home team. It seems like Pittsburgh, even though they lost TJ Watt, their defense played well. Mitch Trubisky controlling the ball. Hopefully, Pittsburgh can pull off the win.
Yeah, Pittsburgh played Cincy tight. I think what's lost in that is Cincy had 5 turnovers and Pittsburgh still snuck it out. I don't think they're a dominant team by any means, but I still think New England's going to struggle again. So I'm going to go with the home team too. It's a coin flip at -1.5. So I'm going to go with the Steelers as well.
All right, the next one, Seattle Seahawks at San Francisco 49ers. Niners at home are favored by 10. This is a difficult one because I think a lot of people, just like the Seattle-Denver game, figure that San Francisco should win, but will they win by that much? I'm going to go with Seattle on this and take the points. I thought Geno Smith played very, very well. I think Rashad Penny.
I put some shots at him on the last show.
You need to but Rashad Penny can run the football. He looked great.
Well too,
they have 2 talented wide receivers. I think that point spread is just high. I think San Francisco wins.
Fan too.
I don't think they win by that
Agreed.
much.
I think it's way too high too. I don't trust Trey Lance after my unknown stack last week. 10 is a lot. Even though they're on the road, I went with Seattle getting the 10 as well. Geno, like you said, surprised me a lot. It was super accurate.
17 for 18 at halftime or something crazy.
Yeah, he started the first 16 in a row, I think it was. Little Mark Brunell-esque from back in the day.
Yeah, he wasn't missing.
Yeah, wow. But I'm going to roll Seattle on the points. All right, next we got Atlanta at the Rams, another big spread. Rams -10.5 right now. I think the Rams bounce back. Atlanta, still, I'm not sold on them yet. They lost a close game, closer than I thought it would be. But I think the Rams bounce back. I don't know if anyone's going to stop Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take the Rams at home as well with the large point spread. I'm just looking for them to go off and for Aaron Donald to cause, wreak havoc in Atlanta. Just too uncertain about what they'll be able to do.
Yeah. And the Rams, it's hard because Rams at home, their stadium never feels like a real home game sometimes.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But I like them. Rams and win by 11. I think that's a thing.
There you go.
All right, Cardinals at Raiders. Rolled with the Raiders last week. I'm going to roll with them again. -5.5 at home again. Devontae Adams looked great in his first game. Mm-hmm. Renfro didn't get involved as much as I would like. I think he'll probably do it again. But Kyler Murray is just a little inconsistent at this point. It seems like it's becoming a trend.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going with Las Vegas at home also. I think 5.5 isn't too high of a point spread. I feel like Arizona just looked terrible against Kansas City, so it's kind of hard to pick them. And Devontae Adams is fantastic. So
it's fun to watch.
I think the Raiders will win and cover.
All right, then Bengals at Cowboys -7.5. I'm sure that's going to climb as the week goes on, but you can't take Dallas even at home with Cooper Rush. It's as a Commanders fan, it's helpful that Dak's not in there. But even with Dak, they weren't really moving the ball at all. So, and Zeke looked good. They just got away from him for some reason, whatever that reason may be. Kellen Moore likes to sling it a little bit. But Bengals bounce back. They're not going to turn the ball over 5 times against Dallas. So I'll take the Bengals -7.5.
Yep, I agree. I'm taking the Bengals -7.5 in a game where Triple H, Hayden Hurst Helmsley puts 3 touchdowns and 100 yards.
Speak it into existence.
All right, following that one up, Houston Texans at Denver Broncos, Denver -10. This one, I don't like the point spread after watching Denver play on Monday night, and maybe it's just, feeling sour about that game. That was my John Locke pick of the week that I'm still lost on the island. But I'm taking Houston with the points. Davis Mills, shout out Josh Kress, rolling with you.
2 weeks in a row.
Yep, I'm going to order a couple rookie cards
Yep.
and put my Texans jersey on and root for Houston.
Yeah, I went with Houston as well. 10 points is a lot, especially with the way Denver looked last week. I still think they'll pull it out, but I'm going to take Davis Mills in the points. They'll keep it close.
I like it. Next one, Chicago Bears at Green Bay Packers -10. Man, I guess Aaron Rodgers owns the Chicago Bears. Seems like a lot. I really like Justin Fields. I'm going to take the Bears with the points at Lambeau. Then Green Bay wins. I'm just uncertain about Green Bay and their weapons. And
core,
I wonder if they just run the football and they cover. But I'm gonna take the Bears +10.
I'm gonna. It's just tough. It's a lot of points, and I do like Justin Fields. I just think I said last time the offensive line is not that good. They didn't get Mooney involved at all for some reason. I know the weather was tough, but I'm gonna go Rodgers and the Pack -10. Hopefully, like you said, they get Dillon and Jones going, and they don't have to rely on the young receivers so much so early. They always say too, wide receiver, one of the hardest positions to come in and produce right away.
Yeah.
So with a young core, no Lazard last week, we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with Rodgers.
I think the game started off rough for them too. They had a wide open Watson dropped a
75
touchdown pass. Yeah,
he would have been in there.
Yep, might have changed the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the next one, Tennessee Titans at Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored by 10 at home.
Spreads are so large.
I've been staying away from big spreads, but I love Buffalo. And I love their offense. Josh Allen is so fun to watch. I'm taking Buffalo at home, given the points. I think that they just dominate Tennessee. If Tennessee can't handle the Giants, they can't handle Buffalo.
Agreed. They have too many weapons, and like guys that like Jameson Crowder making plays, like McKenzie. Like not even. Of course, Diggs is gonna do what Diggs does, but so they're so good. Dawson Knox, they're loaded.
Diggs is that man.
He is that man. You'll see. He's that man. I'm going to roll Buffalo.
Nice. All right, to finish her off, we've got Minnesota Vikings at Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are favored by 2 at home. Last week I chose the Vikings to upset Green Bay. Green Bay gets off to the slow start. I like Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. I'm going to continue to roll with Minnesota. Being a Washington fan, I'm hoping that Philadelphia loses. I think Minnesota does have the firepower. I think they can beat Philadelphia on the road. I'm not sure how often Kirk has gone on the road and beaten Philadelphia, but I'm going to go with it. We'll
questionable.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll with him too. I'm going to roll with Kirk and take the 2 points. I'm thinking of the mindset that Minnesota looked good against what we think is a okay Green Bay team, a top level team, and Philly looked good. They put up points, but kept it close to a Detroit team that wasn't that good. So in a toss-up 2-point spread, I'm going to go Vikings +2.
Nice. We had a lot of very similar picks this week. I'm thinking our records are going to flip-flop from the prior week. You're going to go 12-4, and I'm going to go 10-6. This is my bold prediction.
That's the boldest prediction. I'm just going to bust 500 this week.
All right. Well, moving on to the John Locke pick of the week.
John Locke pick of the week. 1-0. John Locke pick of the week.
Let's see if I can get off that island. Give you mine.
Ride your money on there, Sawyer. Go ahead. What you got?
All right. So I'm going to take, and this should be, hopefully it's an easy one. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns -6 at home against the New York Jets. Like Garrett was saying, Jets aren't sure who they're rolling out at quarterback. Between the duo of Hunt and Chubb, hopefully, Brissett just manages the game. They march down the field, score touchdowns, and I'm off the island.
I like it. Think of it any time. Are the Jets going to lose by a touchdown? Sure.
Yeah.
I think that every week you're going to be all right. I feel like.
Yep.
I'm rolling with the Bengals.
Okay, nice.
Going against Dallas 2 weeks
Every
in
week.
a row.
Yeah.
Just going against Dallas 2 weeks in a row. Shocker. I'm rolling with the Bengals. Cooper Rush, you can't trust that man. Joe Burrow's going to bounce back, come out with his ice on and his turtleneck.
Nice.
Yeah, Bengals -7.5.
Nice. I like it. Okay, so you got off the island last week, right?
I did.
Okay, so that's just for fun for you.
Yeah,
All right,
just,
so
yeah.
G's up 1-0 on the
coming
John
back.
Locke pick
We're
of the
going
week.
back.
Yeah, I
We're
guess
going
they always
back.
end up back
Yeah, we're
there.
going back.
Okay, so we'll see how this John Locke plays out.
You have to
Moving
go
on
back,
to parlays. And, you know, like we said last week, when you're building a 3-team parlay, you got to include your John Locke.
I don't
pick of
think
the
we
week.
talked about it. Our parlays did not do well last
No.
week. Yeah, I went 1 and 2 in my parlay.
I went 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
The only one that was successful was my Vikings over Packers. But
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't good all around.
your John Locke was the successful
Yeah,
one.
only one. The
Tampa,
Bucks.
Tom
Yeah,
Tampa.
Yeah,
So
I lost Carolina Cleveland game. That was close, going back and forth. Yeah, so it wasn't good.
So we'll see how this week turns out. But I started mine off with the John Locke pick of the week, the Browns -6. I'm going to continue to stay with the Vikings, stay hot. We'll see how they work out on Monday night, getting 2 points. And then I'm going to take the Texans and
The point.
+10.
I like it.
Yep, to finish off the parlay, see how she goes.
I like it. I, of course, have the Bengals in there to beat Dallas, -7.5. We're up with the Commanders, +2.5 against
Nice.
the Lions. I think it's going to hopefully happen. And
Carson Wentz, stay
then
hot.
I'm going to get that early win, that Thursday night win, Chiefs -4. Like we said, no Keenan Allen. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, getting one of them knocked off on Thursday night.
Makes you feel good about
good
the week.
feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my parlay. Chiefs, Commanders, Bengals.
Yep, nice.
Yeah.
And I guess so we should touch on this last week.
Yeah.
The link that we posted for DraftKings to hop in, we hadn't auto resize the contest.
Hand up. That's me.
So this week we'll auto resize the contest based on how many
Yeah,
participants
so
join.
boot us out.
So see if you can beat us. Last week I put up some pretty big
Yeah,
numbers. So
you probably would have won anyway. You're welcome. I
yeah,
messed that up.
keep your money. But let's see what you can do this week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all again next week.
Listen to me very carefully. There are 3 ways of doing things around here. The right way, the wrong way, and the way that I do it.